shot him in the leg. He ended up in the hospital for the next 4 years undergoing 13 surgeries.
Every week I would go to church 6 years.
Then we got introduced to bad things like drugs. I had nothing.
Let's get ready to meet incredible, amazing people, life changers.
What makes a person decide to change one's life? What makes a person choose to buck the tide, resist the trend, go against the current, and despite all odds, challenges and obstacles, swim upstream? Judaism Yiddishkeit is predicated on life changers. Avram Avinu left an entire society awash in paganism to become the founder of monotheism. Moshe Rabbeinu abandoned Egyptian royalty to become the giver of the Torah. The ultimate life changer will be Moshiach, the person who will choose to forsake the conveniences, the amenities, materialism, immorality, heresy, to bring the world to an elevated and uplifted reality, the truth. Moshiach is born on Tisha B'Av. What does that mean? It means that all the ideals and all the desires of a person who's willing to change his life and confront his past and set a new course, a different destiny, to open the vistas, to become someone he or she never envisioned. That's what's born on Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av is a conglomerate of Klal Yisrael, of the Jewish people en masse, saying, I want to be different. I want to convert despair to hope, transform darkness to light, and to radically alter reality, to make it a new world. A world where people care, a world where people feel, a world where people genuinely, sincerely are connected to Hashem. In this Tisha B'Av film, you are going to meet the most extraordinary people who are at the crossroads, who had to make a conscious decision, who had to make a choice. Where would their life lead them? What would be? Their choices impacted not only themselves, but those around them. And these people will inspire, empower, but most importantly, ignite us and arouse our deepest feelings, faith, love, and a never-ending quest to learn how we too could be different, how we too could make changes, changes that will engender ripple effects throughout the world. Let's get ready to meet incredible, amazing people, life changers.
I know that in my life, certain things happen to me and it triggers memories. And you just never know what somebody is taught when they're a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old, how that's going to affect them many, many years later in a very mysterious way. And I believe that's what happened to my father. Everything that was done when he was a young boy, he wanted to emulate and brought it into his house 20, 30, 40 years later. It's called Masorah, and he wanted to keep it. And he was very, very strong about that. Minig, that the chicken soup is important. The fish is important. The cholent is important. It's not a tuna fish sandwich. It's having a special day that you celebrate it. It's not a Sunday. It's not a Tuesday. It's a Shabbos. And on Shabbos, you eat special foods. You go to shul more than during the week, and you don't do certain things, but mainly that you do certain things, and it should be a lifelong memory. Shabbos has to be a positive experience. Yes, there's a lot of things you can't do, but he always said, look at it as a privilege. Don't look at it that you can't do it. Tell them that it's something that enhances a day of rest. And we see that today when more and more people are going offline and they're plugging out of the social media and the whirlwind. You are with your thoughts, with God, with family, and he stressed that. Way before the internet age, Shabbos in our house was fun, was strict, but we felt that it's a privilege to do it. And we didn't look at it that we're missing the ball game on TV. We looked at it as something that our father, grandfather, great-grandfather, going back to Sinai. And when you look at it that you're linked in a very, very long and distinguished chain, you look at it with pride. And you don't look at it as a missed opportunity, you look at it as a blessing. My father would sing Zmiris, he would dance with the children, he would take the grandchildren on their shoulders, on his shoulders, dance around the table. He was a very dignified man, but he wanted to show the kids that it's a privilege and to make it a complete positive experience with responsibilities. My father, he was born in Vișeu de Sus, which was a suburb of Vișnitz in Romania, 1929. He had an idyllic childhood. Unfortunately, in 1944, the Germans came in, rounded everybody up. My father ended up in Auschwitz, where his mother and 6 little brothers and sisters were incinerated upon arrival. Obviously, he went through hell on earth. On Liberation Day in 1945, Americans liberated him, and accidentally, an American soldier shot him in the leg. That day, his leg was shattered to pieces. He ended up in the hospital for the next 4 years undergoing 13 surgeries, and he only came to America in 1949. After the 13th surgery, it was spring of 1949, and he was finally feeling better. He was able to walk, and the boys in the hospital found out that there is a soccer game between the Americans and another group of POWs or allies 3 towns over. The only way to get there was by taking a train 3 stops, because it was 3 towns away. This was on a Shabbos. He started walking towards the train, and as he was getting close to the stop, the train was pulling up. It was a steam locomotive, and it released a smoke. My father tells me that when he smelled the steam, what he saw and what he smelled was his mother's chicken soup, his mother's fish, his mother's cholent, smelled and tasted Shabbos at home. And then he remembered that going on a train on Shabbos is not allowed. And he told his friends, I can't go now, maybe I'll catch up on the next train, but right now go without me, have a good time. He tells me that at that point he fell down on the floor, started crying, and said to himself how much he wanted to go, but he felt that his mother was coming to him almost in a trance and telling him, don't give up everything that we've taught you. Years later, my father told me the story, and he said there's not a question in the world that every friend of his that went on that train that Shabbos, had he gone, he would have gone, and they went the next Shabbos and the next Shabbos, and he would not have ever kept Shabbos again. And he said he attributes it completely to his mother coming to him, and he was so taken aback. Then he would have hundreds of pictures of his children, his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, hundreds of pictures around the house, and he would point and say, had I gone on that train, I wouldn't have had anything. I would have been some rich guy, maybe in Alabama, but I would have no children, no grandchildren, no nachas at all, and I thank my mother for that. His mother was coming to him and said, don't throw away future generations. Don't throw away your Masorah. Don't throw away your heritage for a momentary pleasure of going to a soccer game, even though you deserve it and you need to go and you need to get out and you need to relax after being in the hospital for 4 years. Don't throw it all away. My father was one of the happiest people in the world, considering what he went through. And he taught us to enjoy every moment of life and make every minute count. He used to talk about what he went through, but he used it to propel him forward, not to hold him back. He looked back to propel him forward. And he raised us to appreciate everything God gives us. And of course, Shabbos, and he was a fanatic when it came to traditions called minhagim. My father's legacy, I would say, was to use every minute of every day wisely and not squander. He had a lot of fun. He took us all over America, many places in the world, but ultimately he lived with God. And he used to get up every morning at 4 o'clock, like clockwork, till he was in his 90s, to go to shul, to say Tehillim for the family, for Klal Yisrael in general, and he would go to sleep quite late. He wanted to make every minute count, and he taught us that. When he was 5, 6, 7 years old, he wasn't thinking that in 6, 7, 8 years he's going to be in hell on earth. But if you keep and do what you're supposed to, many times things end up the way they should. And he was a big believer, never complained. He had a lot to complain about his early life, later on in life. My father was one of the happiest people, that considering what he went through, and even for somebody who didn't go through that, he was just a very, very happy person. There was nothing happier than a simcha, where he would dance and he would say, who would have thought that I would be here with children, with grandchildren, with great-grandchildren? I was just hoping to be buried as a Jew. That was my hope in Auschwitz. And here I am, with generations upon generations.
Warm memories have the power to rebuild generations. What memories will you create today to inspire tomorrow?
Hi, my name is Rafael Barayev. Tell you what gives me motivation. We used to have a game called Mario. And this Mario, that when you play, he runs and he collects the coin. And he never fills up those coins. You know what I'm saying? He has a bag, but it doesn't fill up. So a person is supposed to also do a mitzvah. When a person sees the mitzvah, I love doing mitzvah. I love serving Hashem. And that gives me a lot of motivation. When I was 13 years old, my family got involved with a missionary. Every week I would go to church 3 to 4 times. I would go with my cousin. Church people, they would help us out, involved with the money or food. I would always wonder how the Jews, they were so chosen, this missionaries trying to say that they Yoshka, that they are the Messiah. Everything was going well. Family was dwelling in it, we say roughly maybe 6 years. I was 19 years old. One day my cousin asked me to participate in Rabbi Mizrahi's lecture. First time I went to Rabbi Mizrahi, he was talking about the Judaism and with a missionary. And it was very interesting for me. And I would have a debate with Rabbi Mizrahi, and he would tell me that you are being blinded by the missionary and you have to really find out about the truth. So I would sit with Rabbi Mizrahi hours and talk to him about it. When I find out the truth about Judaism, and I was very, very inspired by it. I wanted to know more about it. I was very interested to help certain people out. In my barbershop, we talk about a lot of things to help out the person to realize what Judaism is. When I spoke with Rabbi Stefansky, he brought me to Israel, bought me a ticket, and he told me that it's unbelievable the stuff that you do in the barbershop, that you're bringing. In a day, I would maybe sign up 40 people. He would say, it's unbelievable. How can you yourself, 1 year, could bring so many people? He really loved me, and he still loves me, by saying that, you're doing an amazing job. You don't have no idea you're helping the Jews. Yochanan Itzkowitz and Richie Taylor are the main person that made me involved into it. It was a very beautiful opportunity that I could give out the Gemaras. And Baruch Hashem, in my barbershop, I was very successful. And being successful, that signing up people for the Daf Yomi, I would ask a person that if he learns or not, his daily basis. If I would see that that person has time for it, I would try to convince him by saying that, we have free books. I would tell them that taking upon yourself a Daf Yomi is one of the best stuff that you could have by just going, listening in the car. It used to be like 8-minute Daf before. And I would tell the people that for 8 minutes, you could learn a lot. Majority of people would say no to me, but I would try to convince them, tell them that you never know that maybe Hashem sent me here to give this Gemara to you. Just try for 7 days, see what you could do. And if you don't like it, just bring it back. Somebody giving you something for free, why would you not take it? I tell you honestly, I'm very, very happy that Hashem showed me this way, that He put me to this path.
It's incredible. One person brought in 163 people. Thank you so much. Wow. 163 people.
6 years I was in the church as growing up, finding out about Christianitism and everything. When I turned 19 years old, until now, it's unbelievable that I have the special schools, that Hashem really opened up my eyes. He saw in me that I was trying to accomplish something in life. And deep inside of my heart, I would say to myself, what's the truth? God showed me the truth. Show me the way. Baruch Hashem, He showed me this. When I was working for my boss, there's one person, ex-Hasidish, came to the barbershop and he came up and he said that, can you please give me a cut? We gave him a haircut and he said that I would like to have a beard trim with a razor. I told him that I cannot do it because we Jewish people not allowed to do razor. That's what Hashem told us. Say, if you're not gonna do a razor, I would go to a Goyish barbershop. They're gonna give me a razor. So I spoke with my boss about it, that my boss said that if you're not gonna do it, you could get fired. So I was stuck. And I was basically telling him that, that there's halakhically, you're not allowed, maybe I could do this. He said, no, give me a razor. I want a razor, that's it. So I said, okay, sit down. He sat in my chair. I took it off his beard with the outliner. He said, give me a razor. So I said, hold up, relax. I'm gonna give you a razor, no problem. I put him back. I put a lot of cream on his face, took out the razor, and I make believe that I put the razor inside, which is, I never did it. Which is, I had it between my fingers and made believe I would start cutting with a razor. But there was no razor in it. It was going 1.5 to 2 years. I was doing the same method for him. He would come to me, I would do the same thing over and over. This person would come every 2 weeks. And one day, he comes up to me, he tells me, I don't want you to cut me with the razor no more. He said that because I found a religious girl and her father is a big rabbi. If he sees me that I am very smooth shaved, he's not gonna give me his daughter. And I told him that, okay, no problem. So I left him the beard. Within 3 months, he comes back to me, he tells me that, I'm getting engaged. I told him, listen, I never actually cut you with a razor. He looks at me, he said, what are you talking about? I said, yes, I never cut you with a razor. He said, every 1.5 years that you're doing this for me, that you never touched me with a razor? I said, no. After that, he told his father. The father told him that you better bring that barber to the wedding. I want to see this barber. So I went to the wedding. I see a Rebbe. So there were a lot of people. There's like hundreds of people over there. And I'm like looking at it, I'm saying, wow. And the Rebbe over there is telling me, come next to me. He's dancing with me. He said, dance, dance, dance. And everybody is like looking at me like, what's going on? Who is this guy that he's dancing with? And the Rebbe said, you don't have no idea what you have done to my son, that you saved him, that you never shaved his beard with a razor. It says in the holy books of the Torah that we have 5 parts of our beard that are not supposed to be shaved. with a razor. And this is like the pipe, like the channel, where all the barakah comes. I love my job, actually, that I cut hair and at the same time I do mitzvah. Like one person came to my shop and he said, Raphael, why you have the rabbis on the wall? Why you have the Torah and the books, like religious books? This is a business, you're not allowed to do this, mix business with the religion, you have to think about the business. When I see there is religious books, rabbis' pictures, that uplifts me. There's one kid came to my barbershop and we never spoke about religion. He would sit by my father would cut his hair. And one day he sat by me and we started talking. I started talking about religion. I started talking about Hashem. I started talking about what do you want to do? Where are you going? Where are you heading? And he tells me that he was going through a little bit problems. I felt very bad for him. And I will start talking about Judaism to him. I will start telling him about tefillin. Did you ever put on tefillin? He said he would never put it on tefillin. So when I heard that, I took it as a mitzvah. I said that, you know what? I want to do this mitzvah and I want to put it on for him, this tefillin. So we started talking about it. He willing to put on tefillin. When he put on the tefillin, when he was saying the Shema, I opened the siddur for him and he will start saying it in English. He will start crying. The kid will start crying. From there I felt in neshama that this person has a very big neshama. I will start telling him that what about if you take upon yourself a little bit of learning? Who came to my mind? Rabbi Finger. I said that, you know what, do you know about BJX? He said no. I said there is BJX that you're gonna love. You know, they're helping a lot of community and a lot of people, they come to Shabbat. You know, there's nice lectures, a good speaker. And I called Rabbi Finger and I told him about this kid. You know, Rabbi Finger right away said, Raphael, you better, you know, give me his number. We have to help him. I set him up with Rabbi Finger. He was very happy. He was telling me, Raphael, you don't have no idea what you have done for me. He said that there was no hope, but you gave me hope. I enlightened him. He told me that it's good that I met you, that I'm coming to this barbershop. If I could see that in my barbershop I could cut hair and spread the Torah and it doesn't cost me anything, imagine what other people could do. Like us, each of us could bring a lot of people. If you could save one neshama, you're saving the whole world. Imagine there's a mitzvah and it doesn't cost nothing. But after 120 years, it's gonna cost more than anything else. We have to love each other, and that's how we're gonna bring Mashiach. That's how we're gonna bring the Geulah, the redemption.
Every Jew has the potential to become great, no matter their past. Who will be the next unexpected hero to inspire us all? Will it be you?
We were new to this country, new to this whole tuition and paying for 5 kids in school and rent and whatever. My name is Isaac. I was born in Damascus, Syria in 1991. We were raised with a lot of Jewish family kids. A lot of families were raised and we had a yeshiva. In 1999, when most Jews left Syria, we were the last family that's left there. And the yeshiva couldn't open just for 5 kids, so they had to close. In the year 2000, my father was still not ready to come. He had his businesses and whatever else was going on for him, so he couldn't drop and leave. And more so, he had his whole family next to him, his sisters, his brothers. We were all living together. So he had no rush actually to come. So we had to go to schools, but there was no yeshiva. So we went to Catholic schools. We went for year 2000, 2001, 2002. That school became part of us. When we used to come back home, instead of us singing Tehillim or singing Jewish songs. We used to sing Christian songs because that's what they taught us in school. So that's when my mom heard us, then she lost her mind. She's like, I can't have my kids getting raised around all this kind of things because we're going to school on Saturdays. It was like nothing to us anymore to be a Jew. So we came here and we immigrated in 2003. When we immigrated in 2003, I was 12 years old. I didn't know no English and no Hebrew. So they put me back in 3rd grade. I started in 3rd grade because when I remember I came into the school meeting and the Rosh Yeshiva was like, he opened me the Siddur and he said, can you read from Modeh Ani? And I said, no. Even though in the year 1999, you could say I'm 8, 9 years old, but they already taught us Shachris, Mincha, and Arbis because in Syria they teach you how to pray. So I forgot everything. Year 2003, I started in 3rd grade. We had a tutor, so thank God she was a great tutor, Ms. Gindi. In no time, I was up to speed. And the next year, instead of me obviously going to 4th grade, I went into 6th grade. That's when I really met my new friends, the new friends in America. I didn't have any then. 6th grade was a challenge. I was always looking to make my friends happy, and I wanted to be the cool kid and do cool things. And what's cool things are bad things. The school was trying to let me catch up with my grades. So from 6th, I went into 8th. I skipped over 7. Again, got new friends and I'm trying to fit in with the new crowd and I'm picking and choosing friends. And at this point, the school had enough for me and they expelled me. Now, my mom at this point, she's back and forth to the schools. I'm getting suspended. I'm getting kicked out of school. At that point, by the time January came, when I was in 8th grade, they expelled me from school. And that's when I went into work. I was like 15 years old. I knew English, but I just didn't know where to go. I found a job. I started working. He was a great person. I learned a lot from him. I learned how to be a good person from him, really. And when I worked by this person, I was like kind of protected by him. It was like a warehouse. It was somewhere in Queens. Everything was good. And then me and some of my friends started hanging out with real bad friends. Then we got introduced to bad things, like drugs and other type of stuff. When I got there, to the drug situation, I didn't want to work by this good guy anymore because he was trying to protect me. And I didn't see it till I grew old, obviously. I was working for him for 6 years. Like, yo, why is he underpaying me? Why is this? What? I didn't know I could have grew so much bigger with him, but I was so young. I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So when I went into the drug era, I needed more money. I left the job right away. And I went to the city, to Manhattan, and I got an electronic job. And I started being a salesman. And things took the wrong turns, and you know, without me realizing, now I came from Syria. My mom wanted us to be with all around the Jewish kids and this, and have a Jewish family. Now I'm somewhere completely different. I'm not where I'm supposed to be, in so many words. And it went like this for years. I lost all my friends, all my family. Do this type of behaviors that I was doing, it took over my whole life. And then I realized to myself, I'm sure I can get out of this. I'm sure Hashem is gonna get me out. At this point, I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't just get spiritual, but I hit my rock bottom. My family didn't want nothing to do with me. My friends didn't want nothing to do with me. I had nothing. I'm like, I need to refocus on myself. I need to start and focus back on who I am, because I feel like from 18 to 25, I was always trying to fit in somebody else's shoes. If this guy was the cool guy, then I want to be like him. If this guy was a cool guy, I'm gonna do my best to try to to switch my behavior and the way I talk and the way I act. I just want to be like him. I want to be like that cool guy. But when I took a step back and I reflected on myself, I felt like I'm not a bad person after all. So when I found myself, I got clean from everything. I had to leave all. In this era from 20 to 25, I grew so much friends that I didn't need. So much people in my life that was unneeded. I'm like, if I need to change, I need to change everything around me. I changed up my room the way it is, took my bed from here and put it here. I stopped going to places that I used to go. I cut my relationship with those friends that always kept me down, even though that wasn't their intention to begin with. A lot of people don't want harm for you. A lot of people don't want to bring you down, but they take you down regardless because they don't want to be there by themselves. Might as well bring you down. So when I changed up for that first year, I was like, wow, I'm actually not such a bad person. I'm not so spiritual, but I wanted to connect more to Hashem. I really wanted to do something. At this point, I'm clean, I have friends, I connected with my family again, but still I felt the emptiness. You can say it or describe it the way you want, but I felt a little empty on my inside. I didn't know what it was. Every year for like 5 years, 6 years, I always wanted to keep Sefirat Omer. Every year I said to myself, I want to keep it, but every year, Passover, I come on the second night, first day at night, and I don't go to shul. I never ever went to shul. I come from a Syrian community. If they don't see you in shul often and you walk in, it's like a party. Everybody's like, you just came, where you been? So I never went to shul, but that time I was with one of my friends and we were in shul actually, and they were opening the Torah because us Syrian, we have a minhag to open the Hechal and make the blessing by the Torah. And I'm like, yo, what they're doing now? They're like, tonight is the first night of the Omer. I was like, tonight is the first night of the Omer? I was like to myself, wow, I always miss the first night and I never get to say with a bracha. So I'm like, this year, I'm gonna keep the Omer. Whatever it is, I put a reminder on my phone, an alarm every day at 8 p.m. to remind me to say the Omer. And literally, that's what I was doing. For 4 or 5 days, every day it will ring, I would say the Omer. And then I said to myself, you know what? I want to have a meaningful Omer. Let me go say it with a minyan. Let me go daven, because on Avenue P and Ocean Parkway, they have a lot of minyanim. Nobody knows nobody over there. It's farid. They have late night marav. I go over there and I'm going to do it with a minyan. I said to myself, it's great. I finish work, I work at a restaurant. I'm going to finish and I'm going to go just daven marav and say Brachad Omer. And that's what I was doing. Now, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, I want to pray Mincha. You know, I work in a restaurant, the kashrut allows it, just go daven Mincha Gedolah, take a nice quick 20-minute break, refreshed. I went and I started davening Mincha. And when I went to Mincha, I was doing Mincha Gedolah at 1:20 or 1:45. So when you're davening Mincha Gedolah, it's always the same people in that minyan, always. So after a week or 10 days that I'm going straight, they're like to me, hey bud, we see you every day here for Mincha. We never see you here for Shachas. Where you pray? So I had to play it off like I pray next to my house, you know, and then I go to work right away. But inside of me, I know I didn't put the film for a long time, but still, I'm praying Mincha and Arvit. So I said to myself, it was June, it was right after Shavuot, said to myself, I'm gonna start going and praying Shachrit. And I promise you, don't think I went and I knew what was going on. I didn't. Even when I went in Marav and I started praying with them, I wanted to be Chazan, because I went up there and I was stuttering and I was nervous and I didn't know what to say. The guy told me, hey buddy, being Chazan is not for everybody. Please don't do it again. But that didn't stop me. I actually love that guy now because he motivated me more to be a Chazan. So I went in Shachris. I didn't know what page they're gonna start. They say Vedaber, and then they say Hashem Melech. I'm like, what happened to the 20 pages in the middle? No, we don't say that. I'm like, okay. So we say Hashem Melech in the beginning. I was by Hashem Melech, Baruch She'amar, and then Yishtabach, they're saying Balchat Shema, and I'm still Ashrei, and I'm struggling. And I said to myself, I can go fast and skip over words. I said, the speed will come. Let me focus on the prayer. And I stayed. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't praying 7 o'clock minyan. I was praying 9:45 minyan. And maybe I missed every Zman, but I was stuck at the 9:45 minyan for the whole year. And then I wanted to learn it more. Shachris Chazan. And I learned it more. And now, anytime I walk in, they always want to put me Chazan, because I have the loud voice, and they always want me to be part of the shul. And wherever I go, I feel the connection, because whenever I went to Bnei Yosef on Avenue P in Ocean Parkway, nobody ever told me anything. And when I started and I didn't know nothing, and Baruch Hashem, I started with just Sefirat HaOmer, and I just started praying Arbit, and it went to Mincha. It's supposed to go the opposite. I don't know how it's supposed to go. I guess everybody has their own way. Baruch Hashem, just some small steps. I don't take big things about myself, because I end up dropping. I take small things, but when I take the step, I grab onto it. When I take a step in being religious, I take a small step. Whenever I started with Shachrit, now I'm like, we have to go another step. I started doing Netilat Yadayim in the morning. You understand? And then another step. I wanted to say Asher Asar every time I leave from the bathroom. Or now I want to do Barchat Hamazon every time I eat bread. Sometimes I push myself away to eat bread, not to say Barchat Hamazon, but that's a different case. But now I don't eat bread without Barchat Hamazon. If you tell me in 2015, now I will never see myself like this. Praying, I can't say 3 times with the minyan, but I said 3 times a day. And then I learned with my rabbi. And I can sit down and say that from small things, you can grow big things. But you have to build 1 step at a time. To jump 10 steps, everybody wants to jump 10 steps. But you might fall 10 steps, and that's when it hurts. It's such a connection for me now, because my father passed away 2 days before Passover. The day I got clean from my drug of choice was the day my father passed away. 2 days after we start counting Sefirat HaOmer. This whole thing is one piece for me. My new life, my father passing away, that he meant so much to me. And Sefirat HaOmer, that every year I grow better at it. Every year I try to become better. If one year I'm doing it with the minyan, this year I started learning Birkei Avot. I'm not telling you I read the whole book, but I grow from it. Last year I added not to listen to music. I feel like I will start and connecting more from Passover, and then I get Shavuot, and then I feel like special connection with Sefirat HaOmer, really. Every year pass on me, I make sure I have it, it's on my phone, the alarm is ringing, we're going, and we're gonna execute the 49 days, B'ezrat Hashem.
One mitzvah can transform a life and restore a soul. What small mitzvah will you accept upon yourself now to spark lasting impact?
Tisha B'Av is a product of sinas chinam, which is translated as baseless or wanton hatred. But that's not really what chinam may signify. Chinam comes from the word chen, which means uniqueness, grace, and charm. It denotes something that I have that you may not have, or something that you have that I may not have. That means that you are despising something about me because it's different than what you expected. Or I am detesting something about you because it's something that I didn't anticipate. Judaism, Yiddishkeit, is not about conformity, and it's not about uniformity. Judaism is about celebrating the fact that we're different. Each person brings a uniqueness. Each person brings a charm. Each person brings
a spice. And that's what makes us special. That's what makes us who we are. That's what makes us Klal Yisrael. Ahavas Chinam doesn't only mean unconditional love. Ahavas Chinam means reversing the tide of expecting everybody to be the same. Ahavas Chinam means celebrating our differences, cherishing our distinct uniqueness, and recognizing and realizing that every person has something to bring to the table that I may not have. That's Klal Yisrael, and that's what it means to love your fellow Jew. In a very confusing and confounding and turbulent world, there's an oasis. While physically this oasis exists in Brooklyn, spiritually its light emanates and illuminates globally across the world. This oasis is none other than Brooklyn Jewish Xperience, BJX. I have seen personally people that have come to BJX that were written off from society. They grew up frum, and they were neglected, and they were forsaken, and they were told you'll never amount to anything. And today, they're shining stars. They're celestial, they're divine. They're illuminating the world with love and joy. I've seen people grow up secular that have come here and made the Herculean choices to take upon themselves the mitzvah of bris milah, to go under the knife, to change their lives. Life changers, that's what BJX is all about. It's about people choosing, deciding consciously to choose to make a difference in their lives and make an impact on others. You've enjoyed this film. Hopefully you've been awakened. Please, on this Tisha B'Av, help plant the seeds for Mashiach. Allow Mashiach's birth by contributing to a life-changing movement, the movement of BJX, a movement to bring Mashiach. Your donation can make a huge difference. Please open your hearts today and help us lay the groundwork for the third bayis, for the third temple, and the Bias Gold Tzedek, the arrival of the redemption of Mashiach Sakim. Please visit the website helpbjx.com today. Don't delay, don't tarry, don't procrastinate. Right away, helpbjx.com. Don't lose the moment of inspiration. You can make the difference by donating today. helpbjx.com.